Welcome, Amanda. Thanks for coming in today to do the pitch. I've got a marking scheme. I'm going to be quiet through the entirety of the pitch, but obviously at the end I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to go with it as well. So what I'd like you to do is to run through your pitch. You've got maximum of 15 minutes. I'm going to stop you at 15 minutes if you go over, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Begin when you're ready.
Hello, so my name is Amanda and today I'm going to introduce you to my concept, and by the end of this pitch you will be able to ask me any questions and see if we can move this idea forward. In this pitch I will cover project outline, ambition, research, distributions, audience, planning, testing, feedback and achievability.
Okay.
So let's start. For the project outline, I want to do a documentary about my story as an immigrant who lived in different places. I want my target audience to be male and female, 20 to 30 years old. In this piece, I want to include personal pictures and videos, so it makes my piece more powerful and meaningful, but also connecting the audience with the story. I also want to include interview of people who are part of my story, so like my parents. And I want to make it bilingual because my parents don't speak English very well, so if they speak their native language, which is Portuguese, they will be able to tell their story in more detail, their perspective in the story in more detail and more comfortably. I also want to include a little bit of my culture, just briefly, and the message will be to raise awareness of immigration.
Okay.
I want to do this concept to expand my editing skills, but also to be fully prepared for my university film course by doing a different film medium that I haven't done before, which is documentary, so I gain more knowledge of film. I did some semiotic analysis to analyze some documentaries that are similar to the style I want to apply in my piece. And some inspirations that I found was Google Maps. I think Google Maps is an amazing idea because not only it will make my narrative more understandable since I lived in many different places, but also the audience will be able to see where I actually was instead of just saying, oh, I wasn't here, I lived in here. So I think it's actually a creative way to put in my documentary. And I also have another inspiration is text conversation over a picture and video in case my audio doesn't capture very well the conversation, then I will have the text conversation.
Okay.
So the audience can see if they is not able to understand very well what they said.
So you're going to subtitle?
Yes, I also want to subtitle in English. And I also found some zoom in and zoom out pictures and transparency transitions.
Okay.
For the content analysis, I looked through 10 documentaries and saw what they had in common and what they didn't have in common. So I know what I can do and what I can't do. So my documentary is as successful as theirs. So that said, one of the things that I looked was if they had personal pictures and videos, which they did, most of them did, so I will continue with that. And the other one was most of them have more than 2 people being interviewed. So I'm thinking about if I only keep my parents or if I also include my brothers, so I have more different perspectives in the story. For the artist and research, I did some artist research to look at professional directors and editors and see their work, so I can get some inspirations for my piece to be more professional. Some inspirations that I got was OTV grain effect, which I want to apply in my pictures and videos because I think it will create a contrast between present and old, and also to set the mood. And I also got inspiration from highlighting key elements, so if I think that something is really important, maybe I should write a text in it just highlighted that is really important. And also camera angles in the interview. They did medium close-up and close-up, which I also want to apply in my interview. For the distribution platforms, it relates to my audience, because my audience said they watch documentaries on Netflix, but I can't post it on Netflix because I'm a student. So the second option they also gave was YouTube, which YouTube I am allowed to post because it's online and anyone can post it. And on my secondary research, my age group is the most who uses social media such as Facebook, YouTube, TikTok and Instagram. So my plan is to post on these platforms online, which I also think is a great idea because it reaches globally. So I reach more audience from these ages. For my target audience, the secondary research, I did some education and employment, which it was quite in the middle, so I would say they are C1, C2, and also because they are starting their lives and graduating from these ages, so I also think they don't have that, you know. And for the documentary target audience, I didn't find a lot of information, but what I could find was that the audience depends on the topic. So I decided that I would look more deeply in my primary research about documentary and social issues. For the social media, still talking about it, 3 out of 4 men use more social media than women.
Okay.
No, sorry, 3 social medias than 4 men use more social media than women, basically, because 3
different platforms you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically men use 3 social medias more than women. So that's 1 point for men on deciding the gender. But on my primary research, more women answered my questionnaire saying that they like documentaries on social issues. So deciding on that, I want to do for both genders.
Right.
And for the device, on my primary research, they said they watch mainly documentaries on TV.
TV, okay.
Yes, and the second one was mobile phone.
Right.
Social media can't access TV. It doesn't really work except YouTube, which is one of the plannings.
I see where you're going.
So according to Google, 3 out of 4 adults access YouTube on mobile phone.
Okay.
So saying all of that, my mobile phone is my first device, but I'm also gonna think about TV as a second option because they will be able to access both, but mainly mobile phone because of Instagram, TikTok and other applications. So I will consider a lot about the size of the elements I add, if it's not too small or too big, or if it's not too squishy or too, And finally, for the audience profile, their social classes C1 and C2. Their basic needs are sociological, safety, belongingness, and love needs. And their hobbies are reading, going for walks, photography, and watching TV.
Okay.
For the planning, I did a mood board and style frame to see and illustrate the look I want to achieve in my piece. For the mood board, I did some VHS, which is an old camera effect, and I want to apply that in my videos because then it creates a mood that it's old because it's from 10 years ago.
So could you tell you're going to go for did you say VHS?
Yes, for the videos, a VHS effect. It's on my mood board.
Okay, so what does that mean?
It's just to set a mood that it's old.
Okay.
It creates that contrast and mood that is.
What about the format? Because VHS would have been a different format.
The format I want to do 1090.
The YouTube format.
Yes, the YouTube format. But in my mood board you can't really see the whole format, so. But I can make another one.
And I understand it's the style you're talking about.
And for the style frame, I'm trying to achieve a colorful
Yes.
style frame because it's not a dark story, so it needs to be colorful.
Okay.
But in the struggles time, I want to go for a little bit of dark style frame, so it creates a mood and also shows contrast
Okay.
between happy and sad. For the testing, I did two testings. For the first one, I did on Canva, which wasn't it didn't go the way I wanted to. I was hoping to be better. But for the second test, I did on After Effects, which worked extremely well. Not only I learned how to do it, but also I think it creates that illusion and the album pictures. So I think I really want to apply that in my
It's a definite improvement.
in my piece.
Yeah.
For the feedback, I plan to get feedback on pre-production, production, testing, and post-production. And I plan to get feedback every Monday on my reflective diary to see what I've done
Okay.
and what I can make it better or what I can do.
So you're saying that every Monday you're going to write it up, or every Monday are you going to get feedback
Hopefully,
from
my lecturer,
who is?
Chris.
Thank you. All right. What about, but am I your target audience?
No.
Okay.
So I'm also gonna ask my target audience for the feedback on my production and pre-production and post-production.
Yeah, I think, yes, obviously I'll be giving you feedback. I think what we're looking for here is you're testing continuously with the target audience.
Yes.
So you need to think about that.
For the achievability, I think it's very achievable because I've got all the pictures and videos. I've got people to tell their perspectives in the story. I've got myself. I've got equipment to film the interview, and I've got softwares to edit.
Okay.
And I think it's very achievable for a 10-week project. And yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you like my idea so we can move forward. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Okay. So you've done that in about 12 minutes. Okay?
Yes.
That's really good. Yeah, well presented. The only thing I think I picked up initially, which this is why I'm going to do the focus on this, right? The project outline, I've got an inkling of what you're doing, okay? So I think I need to press you on that. I'd like to start with achievability. So I need a few facts off you now. Like, I know you've done a film-based project before, okay, Self-Love. How long do you think this one is going to be in duration?
0 to 5 minutes or 0 to 4 minutes. Because I haven't structured it yet because I want to interview first.
That's not for FNP, second year. How long was Self-Love?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, so you put, I would say push above. So we're looking at probably 4 to 5 minutes if you can.
Yes.
Okay. So what's going to be different about this one in your technical approaches to what you did with the last one? Where's the challenge?
Probably the editing, because I want to do more on After Effects, which I don't have that. Which I have more experience. I feel more comfortable and have more experience with Premiere Pro than After Effects. So I want to try to use more After Effects to get to develop my skill, to improve my skill on After Effects.
In your planning, what you might want to do is have almost like a hit list of the technical stuff you want to do and show me where that's going to come into play. I mean, you've got your research in place to start with. I think you've researched the look and feel of what you want to achieve. You talked about typography, colour. Technically, I'd like to see a little bit more from you coming from there. So break it down into what you could do. So perhaps some of your research you should push out a little bit. If you're going to do After Effects, what particular aspect of After Effects are you going to do? Do you know that yet? Okay, we've got Easter coming up. Watch a few more of these videos, but with a view to, oh, that's a nice effect, or how do I do that? Then take that back over to your research to see, A, is there anything out there on After Effects, or B, speak to one of the lecturers in After Effects to discuss whatever that is you're looking to do, to see if they can help you with it. I think the whole thing about this for you is pushing yourself a little bit more. Have you got a script yet?
With the questions, and I've started writing down basically the narrative.
Okay.
But I haven't finished because I want to interview first. So what they say links to what I say, if that makes sense.
Oh,
and
right,
vice
okay.
versa.
Yeah, and I think what you said is what we talked about with Ardman, is it? Where you do the interviews first and then...
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
So that's why I haven't wrote the whole... I started writing a little bit, but then I realized I think it's better to do the interview first.
Okay.
So then I can link whatever they say to what I say and vice versa.
Yeah, okay, that's a nice way of doing it. You'll probably find you'll have, hours of this, and then you've got to extract probably 4 minutes from that. So how is that going to happen? When's that going to happen?
I want to book this week the camera and microphone and tripod, and probably do the end of this week, the start of next week. So then I start next week writing the script and see what my parents said in the interview.
Okay. It's mainly your parents you'll be speaking to, is it?
Yes, because I'm still thinking about my brothers, but it might be too long. But if it's not too long when I write my script, then I will add my brothers.
I think, okay, I'm going to go back through I'm going to try and sum up what you're doing. You've obviously spent a bit of time preparing this presentation. You've listened to what I said about triggers, so you've used that. You've talked with knowledge about what you want to do without having to rely on looking at the board too much. That's great. Did you practice beforehand? How many times?
I don't know, I practiced Saturday and Sunday, but I don't know how many times.
Okay. I think you could have spent more time on the outline, okay? I'm going to be critical. To bring in more of where your ideas are actually coming from. But that said, as you went through the different slides, more was coming to the table. I think the idea with a presentation like this is you give a clear outline of what you're going to do with everything, and then you go through the detail underneath. So you're reinforcing what you've said above. So that would be my only main criticism of this. It's a bit of feedback for you. When it comes to outlines, spend a bit more time putting the detail on the bones. Think about everything you've just said below and bring it into almost your statement above. That said, it's good enough. I understand what you're doing. I would have liked things like how long it's going to be from the start. You could have mentioned your platform distribution at the start and then go into the detail further down. You've done testing. I think that's really positive at this stage because you're moving the project on already. From a style viewpoint, I've got an idea where I think you're taking this. You've talked about narrative. Again, I've got idea about this and how that will link to your edit at the end rather than be script based. You're going to develop the script around what comes out of it probably naturally. As you've said to me already, the focus for this is going to be editing because you're capturing. But then once you've captured from everywhere and elsewhere, you're bringing stuff in. Are you going to be using sound in this?
Sound, yes, but I don't know yet what sound.
Okay.
And I want to use sound effects for the transitions.
Okay.
That's one idea for it.
So what we could do with the feedback sessions is have a look at things like that. But it needs to be at an early stage. We're about 3-4 weeks into the project now, so you need to use Easter wisely to get enough stuff captured, ready to come back that first week back after Easter. Are you confident about that?
Yes.
Okay. So how much footage are you planning to capture in terms of hours, perhaps?
An interview or
yeah.
I don't know. Because I don't know how much they will say because I don't feel very comfortable with the camera. So I don't know if they're going to be too detailed or just overall. Okay. I'm going to try to say to be detailed, but I don't know how they will feel about it.
What about strategies to make your parents feel comfortable?
Well, I'm thinking and maybe just record the voice if they don't feel comfortable and take the camera out.
Right.
So that's not one idea.
Okay.
Or maybe even hide it, I don't know.
That might even help. But I'm sure once you've done this a few times, they'll be more comfortable with the camera in front of them. And what I wouldn't do is do hours and hours at a time. So what have you thought about that? How long are you going to record for with them?
Probably 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. You might find the first time they're very, very nervous and they get more comfortable. It might be like, I wouldn't say think about doing maybe just half an hour slots at a time. You've got to get them comfortable, you've got to get them relaxed. So you might ask a few, what I call off-camera sort of comments, just get them chatting, and it's when they start chatting and laughing and telling anecdotes is probably when you're going to get your best captures. Okay, here's a weird one. Have you thought about costume?
No.
Okay, so you're recording these people in the environment, you might want to think about staging it a little bit. So think about the lighting, think about what they're wearing, think about where you're going to place the camera, think about the camera angle. If you're recording both parents, do you want them both speaking to camera at the same time? Do you remember the railway when you had the husband and wife?
Yes.
That was quite a nice camera angle. Are you going to be in it?
No.
So it's just you voice?
Yes.
Okay, I think I've just about got there. Do you have any questions for me now about this?
No.
All right, so I'm going to look forward to seeing you most Mondays then to go through this and get a review going. Thank you, Amanda.